Hello everyone, and welcome back to another big year of Martin Points. Thank you, Corey, for the words of welcome. Before I can begin, I do want to acknowledge you, Corey, and all of the effort you've put into building our safety culture at site and improving our safety culture here on site. I know it will be time to pay a tribute for you, very much, the work you've required for you after. But I think I speak for the whole team. It's everyone really appreciates it with Marty to building our culture here on site. Shortly, we'll introduce you. We'll be hearing from Andrew, our inspiring speaker this morning, who I know demonstrates through his personal story the importance of health and safety. Before I introduce Andrew, though, I wanted to give my reflections on our collective efforts last year. Overall, it's really pleasing that despite a hugely complex and large number of projects we had on site last year, our level of injury remains really low. We celebrated last year, we had no loss of injuries on site. That's quite an achievement what we did last year. As a reminder, though, that our work is never done on safety. We did, however, have a number of minor injuries and serious near-miss events. And that goes to show the importance of taking fire, assessing surroundings, and ensuring that those safety critical controls are in place before you begin a task. Very important, no matter what you're doing, pause and recognise any changes that have occurred on your work site. There's no harm in pausing your job to reassess the hazards in front of you and put in place new controls to keep yourself or your colleagues safe. If once you've assessed the situation and don't feel confident to manage that, then it's really critical that you stop, check with your supervisor, your manager, the operations team, and ask them for help. Last year, we've made a concerted effort to improve our reporting of incidents and, more importantly, near misses on site. These present a really valuable opportunity for learning and improvement, so we can avoid significant incidents in the future. I think we've got lots of work to do on this still, and capturing these learnings is really important. So if something goes wrong in your job, please report it so that we can help make sure that these incidents and injuries. Here at Master Point, we have health and safety rules and procedures in place for a very good reason. And that's to keep you and your work colleagues safe and to protect the environment. We were really disappointed to see that last year we continued to see non-compliances with safety controls. That's not good enough, and we must do better this year. It's a non-negotiable that all work construction, safe operating procedures, job hazard analysis are followed. And if at any time we can't follow the rules or procedures, we must stop and evaluate how to safely proceed. As well as keeping each other safe, we must work really hard on this high hazard site to protect our environment. Spills are our biggest risk to the environment, and this year I really want to see a change the way we work on any job, whether it's a risk of spill. If you're working on a job and you think there's a risk of a product spill, please also stop, rethink your approach, and understand what you will put in place to mitigate that risk. And by being proactive in this way, it might take a little bit longer. This time will be well spent in protecting the pristine environment in which we operate, rather than having to react and clean up a spill that could have been avoided. With that, it feels like a relevant point to finish on and hand over to our guest speaker, Andrew, who has an incredibly moving story of his own about taking a slower but safer option.
Could this happen to you or someone that you know? The answer is yes, it could. For me, it was a lapse in concentration on a quad bike, resulting in a spinal cord injury. In New Zealand, we have about 80 to 130 new cases of spinal cord injury per year. Motor vehicle accidents account for nearly 40% of these. Have you ever had an accident concentration while driving? Have you ever had an accident concentration at work? Working at height, working with plant and equipment that has potential to cause serious injury. I didn't think it would happen to me. If I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently. Thursday, the 5th of October 2000, was like any other morning on the farm. Riding around on my quad bike with my dogs, checking the stock. I decided to take a shortcut home up a steep spur because it saved me having to open 6 gates. Have you ever taken a shortcut? You've been better off not to? It was nearly at the top of the spur, went over a sheep rut, and the front wheels lifted. The bike stood up. Suddenly, I was falling down the hill. I remember thinking, why can't I stop? I was quite a hot snow skier and quite used to falling on steep slopes. But I literally fell like a rag doll. I landed on my back, halfway down the spur, with my legs pointing down the hill. It felt like I had broken myself in half. In fact, I had. My elbow vertebrae was shattered. Imagine being hit with a small back with a sledgehammer. My legs felt like white back waves full of water hanging down the hill. I later found out that the muscles in my legs had stopped working and there was nothing to push the blood back. Blood was literally falling in my legs. I couldn't move my legs, let alone walk or crawl. I was in absolute agony, and every little movement amplified it tenfold. The dogs knew something was wrong, and they wanted to help. Kate, Ross, go away! I wasn't in the mood for doggy visits. It was 10:15 in the morning. Nobody was likely to come looking for me. And it looked like it would rain. I knew that if I got wet and cold, I'd probably die of hypothermia. I couldn't see anything that would help me get found. The situation just seemed hopeless. That's how I got admission to the Spinal Injuries Club and got this fancy chariot. What's in this for you? You may not be on a quad bike on a farm, but every day you face similar risks to what put me in this wheelchair. You might think you're bulletproof. Trust me, you are not. Corey has asked me to share my story. Give you, as channel infrastructure staff and contractors, insight into how easily it will go wrong and make you aware of the consequences of your choices. If you get seriously injured at work, there will be consequences for all involved. Legal actions, fines, guilt. The biggest consequence will be your broken body. No amount of money or legal action will make up for that. I got from privately paddock to see talking to you. I had some serious lessons in the consequences of a poor decision and serious injury. The thing is, most people don't think it will happen to them. Do you think it could happen to you? If you don't, think again. I was in hospital with a guy who broke his neck something over backwards in a lazy boy. He ended up a tetraplegic and was a lot more stable than me as a result. What do you do every day that's more risky than sitting in a lazy boy? Have you ever slipped or tripped at work? My mate Colin fell over laughing and landed on his head. They think he stretched the spinal cord in his neck. His whole body didn't quite work right up. Have you ever slipped or tripped at work? Does that give you a different perspective of the risk of injury? When I looked over the Channel Infrastructure website, I was impressed with what I saw and with information that Corey sent me. Values in line with my own, especially the health and safety of our people is our number one priority. I feel information like Channel life-saving rules is good for you to have in your list to reduce the risk of injury while working, as well as the health and safety aspiration on site is centered around the low core behaviours and key capabilities, and also for Corey's some key findings about incidences in 2024. I feel taking the time to be familiar with this important information will save you dealing with a lot of challenges that I have had to deal with in the last 24 years. You may find health and safety legislation challenging. It's change for some of us, and a lot of us don't like change, do we? The reality is, things change all the time. Does anyone remember a time before cell phones or smartphones? Health and safety is now something you need to actively engage in to be part of the workforce, whatever industry you work in. If you choose to ignore health and safety requirements, you are likely to make yourself unemployable on many employers, just like not complying with other rules of the workplace. How would you feel if you had to visit one of your workmates after a serious injury like mine? My workmate Kevin and I were responsible for all the applied servicing at Limits Electrical in Hawera in the mid-90s during my career as an electrician. A couple of years after my accident, Kevin fell off a ladder at work and suffered a serious brain injury. I visited him in Wellington Hospital with his wife and his two sons. This gave me insight into what my friends and family went through after my accident. He was in a coma for 2 weeks. He had the top of his skull removed to allow his brain to swell. We all wondered whether he would survive. He did. He got over his challenges, and he now runs his own business, Mobility and War in Hawera, supplying disability equipment. He still has challenges with a brain injury all these years on, as is the case with most serious injuries. Channel have a responsibility for your safety. They do not want to send people injured. The thing is, where does health and safety rate in your banking system? When you can help Channel continue to grow a culture of safety, will you choose to see it as a hassle and resist it? Something to consider is that whatever rules and guidelines are in place, a poor decision can lead to unwanted consequences. I got from line of pattern to 30 people to do. I have some serious lessons and the consequences of a poor decision and serious injury. I don't think it would happen to me if I knew then what I know now. I would have done things differently. Things go wrong for people every day. On a plane, after a speech in Nelson, I met a guy minus a leg. He was a painter. He had overreached on his ladder. As he fell, his leg slid through the rungs, and the impact shattered his lower leg. After a year of health and several operations, he had opted for amputation. I know a builder that fell less than 2 meters and broke his neck and ended up tetraplegic and a lot more disabled than me as a result. Now, the paraplegic I know stepped on a clear light on a roof and fell through it. He told me he can't believe he did that. It was a simple act of concentration and it resulted in life in a wheelchair. A builder I was in hospital with slipped on the saw stool and broke his neck, ending up a tetraplegic. A serious, life-changing injury happens in a few seconds, and often because of a lapse in concentration. What have you forgotten to do that could have been serious consequences? What went through your mind in that scary moment? What could the consequences have been? What about the gap between your intention and your behaviour? If your phone leaks for a text while you're driving, what do you do? You know you should be concentrating while you're driving and not your text message. Hopefully, your intention is to be safe and comply with the law. What do you do? Do you reply to the text and let your intention over your behaviour overrule your intention? Or do you fly over and reply to the text safely? I suggest patience is something to consider when driving. I am very interested most times in driving and how many vehicles pass me when I'm doing 100 kilometres per hour, including goods and trailers that have a 90 kilometre per hour speed limit. So how much do those vehicles have to exceed the speed limit to pass someone that is doing the speed limit? What are the potential consequences? Usually when this happens to me, that vehicle is stuck behind a truck or a van or something a few kilometres down the road. So they didn't gain much out of the risk that they took. My intention wasn't to put myself in danger. My behaviour over not wanting to open those gates is what put me in danger. Do you think that's the second decision to stay behind that day? No, it didn't. It was the worst 7 hours of my life. I seriously thought I was going to die. What are other examples of the gap between intention and behaviour that you can think of? Good balance between life and work is affecting your safety in the workplace. My wife and I had a big argument the night before my accident. I know I was very unhappy with her that morning as I rode around on my quad bike. For years, I wondered if that played a part in what happened that day. A while ago, I saw a documentary on TV about how unresolved personal issues can overflow into the workplace and affect workplace safety. Some emotions can be difficult to deal with and can lead us to make poor decisions. Do you feel right emotionally? If not, I suggest you talk to someone you trust about it or seek professional help. What goes on in our minds is a really important part of our overall well-being and our successes in life. There are all sorts of free resources available online around mindset and well-being. I regularly watch videos on YouTube to improve my mindset and my general knowledge. Line in the panic, broken, unable to see anything that would help. The situation just seemed hopeless. I started to panic. I realised that wasn't going to help. I calmed myself down. Then I realised that I could hear the cooking fan on the bike. I still didn't see, but I could hear. Maybe I could get to it and get home by it. Looking back, that was a long shot. But I changed my perception from hopeless to hopeful. I made a decision to roll towards the sound of the fire. Remember, I had a shattered vertebrae. Imagine how much it hurt to roll. What was my motivation to push through that pain? I was determined to live. After 8 rolls, I could see the fire. Oh no, that's straight into fence. I won't be going anywhere on that. What now? Then I noticed the neighbour's cows across the river. I knew that Martin would come and get them from milking at about 3 o'clock. What's the time? 10:48. I had 4 hours to wait. I could feel things sweating in my back, and just lying there was hurting more and more. I told myself, just stay conscious. I had changed my perception from hopeless to hopeful, and now I had the hope that I needed. The cows started lining up at the gate at about 2 o'clock. Hey, not long now. I was late from milking. It was 4:30 when he heard Moss barking and spotted me 6 hours after the accident. Think about 6 hours in the worst pain I had ever experienced. The ambulance officer arrived at about 5 o'clock. Boy, was that shot awfully nice. All the pain just faded away. I was loaded into the chopper, lying on my back. The ambulance officer said we'll be taking off in about 2 minutes. Great. I was wondering to fly over my farm. All I could see was the bloody roof. On my worst day, hope saved my life. Little bits of hope gave me the courage to push through horrific pain. Surviving was a worthy reward relative to the pain I had to endure. For me that day, the pain of doing nothing was likely a slow, painful death. Taking action gave me more hope of survival. And I tell you, survival is a very powerful incentive. What a better choice thank you having to make a life or death decision. What's a better choice you could have made that would have saved you a scary moment? Like the choice I should have made to open 6 games. Perhaps the better choice is not rushing, taking the necessary time to assess what you need to do the next day. What about the danger of working alone? I survived 6 hours alone. With a lot of injuries, you won't have that long. My friend Kevin was afraid of it. Was lucky there was someone there to call or help. What about the choice that you had to make? The fact that you had to wear safety equipment to do the job safely. I'm sure safety measures are inconvenient at times. Take it from me, a life-changing injury, serious injury lasting a lifetime is a lot more challenging than your required safety measures. A change of attitude can save a lifetime of adversity and a lot of heartache for your family. A lot of us gave very little thought to safety over the years. A lot of us have got away with all sorts of things. What about the time that you've done get away with it? We've all had near misses at work and play. What's one near miss that you can think of? You can learn a lot from those near misses. You think about why they happened and what you could have done differently. Others can learn from your near miss too. If you are brave enough to share your near miss, that might be embarrassing. You might feel stupid. How would you feel if a similar incident caused a work by a serious injury or death, and you haven't told anyone? Managers and supervisors, are you fostering an environment where staff feel comfortable speaking up? If not, what can you do about it? A suggestion: learn about different personality types. Understanding personalities different to your own will help you communicate with others more effectively. This is a great book by one of my speaker friends that talks about personality types. With understanding your partner's personality, help with things at home. I don't think it would happen to me. If I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently. That can happen to anyone. Remember, I was in the hospital with a guy who broke his neck, flipping over in a lady portion. The accident can be so simple. The recovery is a huge challenge. Great inconvenience can happen to anyone. What happens after that event? Waking up after stitches through veins into my spine felt like torture. Modern technology had put me back together. They told me that an injury like mine would cost about $6 million over my lifetime. I grew up in the 70s. I always wanted to be a $6 million man. A sci-fi series about a guy who had his body repaired with violent technology. The reality was nothing like my childhood fantasy. There were no monitors to restore my legs. Damaged nerves around my broken vertebrae were shorting out, causing severe pain in my legs. Like I was sitting in a bath that was too hot. I was also getting violent electric shocks in my thighs. I couldn't get out of it. Nurses had to do everything for me. I mean, everything. I couldn't even change the channel on the TV. The gravity of the situation is sinking in. I felt like I was tied in the bed. There were no ropes, just self-defeating thoughts stopping me from seeing choices. People are telling me to focus on the positives. Have you been told that before? I couldn't move my legs. I was thinking no was no skiing, or barefoot or skiing. The things I love to do the most. I can remember looking at people in wheelchairs. It was very challenging to see the positives. I can remember looking at people in wheelchairs and thinking how hard it must be not being able to walk. Man, I had no idea. The biggest challenges were things I didn't expect. One of the orderlies said, "We're taking you to Euro now." I thought, that's nice. I wonder what Euro is. I was wearing the Eurodynamics on my bed. I was lying there with very little on, and 3 men were standing around the bed. Guys, I had dreams like this. The first nurse that spoke to me reminded me of the grumpy old lady on Coronation Street. Is the injury? Have you had any erections since the accident? Huh? What are you asking me that for? She proceeded to tell me that L1, where I'd broken my back, controlled bowel, bladder, and sexual function. At 31, I was impotent and incontinent. My happy nursing dream had turned into a nightmare on Young Street. A word meaning coitus echoed through my mind. I guess I won't be doing that anymore either. Back in my room, I started freaking out. I wasn't sure what's wrong, Andrew. I burst into tears. I've fallen. I can't walk. I can't function or speak. The Catholic Happy doesn't work. How can we have kids? Why would you even want me like this? God will be in help. She said you may not be able to change the channel on the TV now. But that's temporary. Change the channel on your thoughts. Focus on what you can do. I love you, and we will get through this together. I saw a glimmer of hope through my years. When it all goes wrong, the negatives stand out like big red flags. If we focus on the negatives, we can see them to be worse than they actually are. We feel paralysed. It seems easier to do nothing. A solution is harder and harder to see. It takes a conscious choice to focus on the positives. See the positives. What about you? Are you seeing the hope you need? Or do you need to change the channel on your thoughts? I focus on learning to live life in a wheelchair. Some days I have big accomplishments like this. Other days were so hard and frustrating, I'd just look forward to watching friends on TV. If I could laugh, I felt better. Rehab was harder than anything I have ever done. Learning to go to the toilet, the clinical way. To me, I need a catheter like this. Anyone want to insert that in your bladder every time you want to pee? Number two is involves a tube of lubricant and a lot of glove. As the captain happy, the little blue pills don't work for me. My solution is a syringe and a needle. Any of you guys want to do that? And I don't believe in the yarn. Warning, little things that you no longer do. Talk about things that screw in your head. 4 hours a day at the gym to build upper body strength. Learning to get up curves. You race up to them as fast as you can. Lift your front wheels at the last minute, put them down on top of the curve, and get the momentum to help you over. Not going to get the timing wrong. After 10 weeks, I was home for Christmas, really positive about my future with Sheree. I went home from hospital. Sheree said, I need to talk to you. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. I'm leaving you. Been pretty bad for me. I was absolutely devastated. How would you feel? So much more until death do us part. I was very much alive and kicking. Well, perhaps not the kicking, but you get the picture. To top it off, I worked for Sheree's family for very little to make the farming venture work for the future. We lived on her income. How would your income be good if the injury stopped you working? ACC would only look at one financial year, which was the worst year in 10 years of self-employment, and assessed my income at $265 a week, with $14,000 a year. The year before, I had been $37,000 and $35,000 in most of the 90s. How can I live on that? I felt broken, alone, and worthless. Big red negative flags flapping in my face. Lots of reasons why it was all so unfair. Lots of reasons to feel sorry for myself. And I did. Thinking about all that crap, didn't help at all. It just got you down. It wasn't fair, but it was the hand that liked it built. I learned that changing the channel isn't a one-time deal. My thoughts are something that I have to monitor. Whatever happens in your life, it can get worse. How well you're able to deal with it is not about the challenge. It's about you choosing to see a solution. If the only choice you can see is a small glimmer of hope, go with it and see where it takes you. I negotiated a settlement for Cherie for some cash and turned the freehold on our rental property in Harwood because this is passive income. I used the cash as a deposit to purchase a second property in Stratford for $35,000. And then we would pay it off in around 5 years, giving me a little more passive income. It was hope at the end of a very dark tunnel. Most of the things that I've learned to do in my 31 years, I now had to learn to do in a different way. This was, in lots of ways, I felt like half the man I used to be. This was very psychologically challenging. My perception of myself and my abilities was critical to stay on top of my challenges and get on with life. By changing the channel of my thoughts and looking past my disabilities, I started to see opportunities. I was asked to take part in a pilot course with Backup New Zealand, a trust set up to keep disabled people and live a great outdoors.
My legs don't went all, so I climbed all out there on my arms, and yeah, it was slow and I rested a lot, but yeah, that's just an awesome achievement for me. What? If I didn't hold this, if I let go, this should have got me anyway, haven't it, Jay?
Yeah, we've got you here. See if I get that rope, I've got my hands for the back here so I can grab hold of it. I've got here, the old just keeping. Very scary. And trust somebody you've only met about 2 days beforehand and put your life in their hands, especially when you can sometimes be in such a kind of protective state, your personal self.
I haven't got any weight on here now. It's all you.
Activities. All these activities were really important. I saw ways like school have a great life. My eyes were open to possibilities. They all cost money though, more than I could afford on $265 a week. I needed to improve my income. The rentals were going well for a year or so. Then the tenant in the Harwood property trashed it. Somehow, I needed to get a place and rent it again. I didn't have enough money to pay takers. What would you do? I knew how to paint. Could I do it in a wheelchair? What are the two main problems that are painting users? Is there a problem for me? Is it such a problem? Or is it just your perception? What if I need to reach higher? That's been a longer pole. Is it easy? Not really. Am I fast and efficient? Not so much. I had more time than money, and I really wanted financial security. I had the skills required to paint. It was a skill. I just had to modify the way that I did it. It took a lot of self-belief and determination. I increased the value by $40,000 and the rent by $50 a week. My parents didn't say much at the time, but I felt they thought I was crazy when I bought the Stratford property. It tripled in value in 3.5 years. It was more good luck than good management. That's $70,000 worth of luck. It was quite nice. I sold it, reduced my debt, and started investing in property investment education. I learned how to leverage my equity to buy positive cash flow properties where the rent covers the expenses. I renovated to increase the value and repeated the process. I renovated 4 properties, including one in Invercargill. I loaded up my car and trailer with all my gear and drove down. Mum and Dad bought a few too. I guess I wasn't crazy after all. I could just see things that they couldn't. I sold the Invercargill property in November 2019, which allowed me to freehold the house that we live in. I value my can-do attitude. My can-do attitude led to increasing the value of my assets by about 1,900% in the 24 years since my accident. What strengths do you have that you can leverage? And how much? Could you change things in your life with a can-do attitude? What strengths do you hold? How can you leverage your strengths and keep improving safety in your workplace? And if you all leverage your unique skills, what wonderful outcomes could you achieve in your lives for channel infrastructure and personally? I didn't have appropriate insurance. If I did, that would have saved me a lot of hard times. Maybe I would not have had to renovate houses in a wheelchair. One challenge I had is that the bank required me to have life insurance to lend me the money I required to buy property. Because I took it out after the accident, that had what they called a 200% loading, which means it cost a lot more than I had bought the policy when I was fit and healthy. Remember that there are risks of injury and death in your personal life too. My good friend Colin, I mentioned earlier, died suddenly of a heart attack and left behind a pregnant partner and a toddler. This family's life would have been a lot easier had Colin invested in insurance. I didn't really understand this stuff until it was too late for me. I urge you to have a conversation with a financial advisor so that you can understand what choices you have to protect your financial security for you and your family in the future. One of my biggest passions was nose skiing. I really wanted to get back up the mountain and feel the rush of racing down the slopes today. I had to learn a new way of doing it. There were a lot of challenges to learn to ski again as a paraplegic. Mountains, snow, and wheelchairs don't go great together. It was exhausting just getting to the snow and the gear. A far cry from running up the hill with the skis on my shoulders and stepping into the top. I needed a lot of help. I fell over a lot. It was frustrating and exhausting. I haven't had those challenges stop me. But not fun. It got easier. I've independent, and it's now the adrenaline rush that it used to be. I've had about 150 days skiing since this video was taken, and I've improved a lot. So I have a pretty good height, despite my disabilities. Most things I do are a lot harder, and they take a lot more effort though. Often the hardest things are the things others don't see. Pain has been one of the biggest challenges for me. Damaged nerves around my broken vertebrae, gnawing out. I experienced 2 types of pain. A mixture of sensations like my legs are on fire, so I'm sitting in a bath that's too hot. Feeling like my legs are being dragged through gravel. And lying with really bad pins and needles. These sensations are there 24/7 in varying degrees. I also get electric shock type pain in my thighs. For 5 years, this happened at random intervals from the time I got up in the morning to the time I got to sleep at night, and often right through the night would write me off the next day. I was prescribed an opioid called oxycontin. Within a couple of weeks, the shocks had reduced to a day or 2 a month. Water in me. In hindsight, I wish I had never started taking it. It certainly made a difference for a while. But after a few years, all the pain was getting worse, and I was really struggling to cope with my business commitments and lots of other things of life. In 2010, I had an assessment with the Irwin Spinal Unit. They gave me 2 options: a newer, stronger drug, or to surgically sever my spinal cord. I have had terrible experience with many medications over the years, and I didn't want more drugs. Surgically severing my spinal cord was way too radical for me. I had been on improvements over the years, and I didn't want to lose them. People I had met on my investment and personal development journey advised me to get off the oxycontin. A lot of people told me that it would kill me. I decided to take their advice and started reducing the oxycontin. I had become addicted to it. Every time I reduced the dose, the pain was just skyrocketing. Felt like crap. I couldn't really function. All I could do was sit in my lazy boy all day. I didn't feel like eating. I lived on fruit and vegetable juice. But I also learned that feeding my body well helped with the pain levels too. It took 9 months of hell to get off that stuff, and 2 years to feel anything like normal again. How do I get to the point of being addicted? My belief, and it was, that when I was in pain, I needed a pill. When I was a kid, if I had a headache, someone gave me a pill. When I was in the worst pain I had ever experienced, my mindset said I needed a pill. Hey, your beliefs holding me back? Mine were. I decided to change my belief around pain and found people to support me. I now manage pain better than ever without such easy company. What beliefs if you need to change to achieve what is want? Changing the belief can be as simple as finding some evidence and making a decision. Taking action and following through can be a lot more challenging. Find the support network. Often, this is as simple as asking someone. In June 2017, I met Larissa, and who died of Helen. Larissa went blind from a brain tumor when she was 11 years old. As I got to know Larissa, I was amazed with what Larissa and Helen could do due to their training with Guide Dog Services. We were married in March 2018. Helen was retired in January 2023. And Larissa got a new guide dog, Lucas. Larissa is totally blind, but with Lucas's help, she walks about 5 k's most days. Lucas is so smart and well trained. Larissa can say, take me to a destination where we have taught him, and Lucas knows the way. Lucas's job is to guide Larissa and keep her safe. Just like visual health and safety advisor's job to keep you safe by minimising your risk. Lucas's functioning eyes and training give him the ability to keep the resident safe. Sometimes Lucas will see a hazard Larissa can't see and stop or take the detour. Larissa might not know why. She just has to trust Lucas and follow. You won't always see the risks around you. You may need to leave the health and safety to guide you and trust what they are telling you. Working together in the right ways can lead to great outcomes. Be aware that a workplace injury could result in vision loss. So the consequences are likely to be similar to the reasons. Consider the importance of eye protection. So consider that a brain injury could result in vision loss or worse. When I started slip skiing, I was told I had to wear a helmet. I've skiing since I was 8 years old. I wondered why. One day, I fell over, getting off the chairlift. The chair kept moving over top of me. Lying there, unable to move, I was very happy I had a helmet on my head. This has happened several times skiing. I'm very happy I was made aware of the importance of a helmet to protect my head. Consider another challenge I have in my life is I've developed tinnitus in my ears, which means I have ringing sounds in my ears most of the time, which really affects my ability to sleep at times and sometimes my concentration. When I was young, things like earmuffs and helmets weren't something we really thought about or used. My audiologist told me that it's due to hearing loss and very likely due to not wearing hearing protection over many years. Consider the importance of wearing safety equipment such as helmets and earmuffs and other things, because they are likely to save you other challenges in your future. Whatever duty you choose, there will be challenges. If I can do these things with a broken body and extreme pain, or the rest can do them blind, then what can you do? Whatever happens, it's not about the challenge. It's about you choosing to see a solution. We've overcome some very big challenges that just seem impossible. You might have bigger challenges challenges than us, well, you might just think that you do. A lot of people have told me that my story will be challenges in perspective, and that change in perspective moves them past what it is. What will you take away from my story that will lead you to the solutions to your biggest challenges and lead you to the outcomes you really want? Whatever happens, it's not about the challenge. It's about you choosing to see a solution and taking action. I've turned my biggest recently into a business, sharing my story as a speaker and an author. My book tells my story in more detail if you would like to understand my challenges and triumphs here. Disability equipment is expensive. ACC funded a lot, but my subsidy was $10,000, and they wouldn't fund me. A big price tag to continue to enjoy my biggest passion. It's been a long, hard journey, investing everything along the way to get to this point. Would you like my life of paraplegia, or the recent life of blindness? Or a safety quiz of a serious thought and discussion? I think it is. You might see hazards, others don't. Others may see hazards you don't. Are you prepared to have potentially awkward conversations with your colleagues in the interest of improving workplace safety? Managers and supervisors may be prepared to do what it takes to foster an environment where people feel safe raising safety concerns. Prevention is better than cure. Often there is no cure. I've shared my personal story today to show you how serious the consequences can be when a mishap or lack of concentration results in a serious injury. Channel infrastructure have a responsibility for your safety, and they have procedures in place to keep you safe. Who do you think has the ultimate responsibility for your safety? If you are injured at work, the ultimate consequence will be yours. It is in your best interest to take responsibility for your safety and help Channel continue to grow a culture of safety. Would you prefer my life of paraplegia to your own? What would you take away from my story to make sure you get home safely every day? Any questions? And feel free.
Thank you for sharing the story. And it's amazing to see how that change perspective has changed your life. I think one of the biggest challenges you can have in any role that anyone does is that level of complacency, or you do a lot of those same jobs over and over. What would you say would be some of the key things that you think people need to think of in terms of trying not being complacent when they're doing the job?
What I was going to say is a gap with what you're doing. A lot of situations are very different, aren't they? So, a lot of the challenges of my life, I'm figuring out, leaving a bit of a gap and thinking about what you need to do, so that also relates to the safety, I believe. Does that answer? How do we pull off that model? How do I pull off the model? Going up Steve's Spur, I remember a chef right. I also think the wind was coming across the top of the hill, that it was here. So I think when the pipe lifted, because it happens with our quad bike sometimes, I think the difference was the wind got under the guards. And I was just wondering, but it all happened so quickly. If you remember exactly what the problem was. And I didn't see the quad bike afterwards.
Big happening here, well,
Yeah.
up the whole,
Well, one thing is, I mean, I've been a lot worse places on quad bikes and had no problems. But another day, I was going up a track like this. There was another track coming up here. And the dog, it was a sunny day, I had a sun hat on. And the dog was playing up the top of the spur. And I had to look up to the way up. And I didn't notice it was a little bump. I was only doing about 5 Ks probably. And the wheel dropped into that. I'm like, rolled. I fell off, but it stopped before it hit me. But I often wonder what would the consequences have been if that bike had rolled over top of me that day. So, you know, there's so many little things that can go wrong and things that we used to. Just takes a lot.
Thank you. And thank you so much for sharing your story. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of honesty, and the trials and the tests that you've been through. I hope they speak to all of us here today. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Really moving story. It really brings home the importance of stopping and thinking about the consequences of what we're doing before we proceed with something risky. I think as human beings, one really part of your story that really stands out to me is our failure as human beings to learn from other people's mistakes. So you've been through the experience, you've been through the suffering. Let's respect what Andrew's been through and make sure that we learn from his story and we take something away from it today as well. One thing that really speaks out to me is when you've been through an accident, when something has gone wrong and you desire to want to undo that, and that's something that we go through psychologically, lying in hospital, and we say, I wish I could turn back time and make a different decision. Andrew said, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently. On your computer, you press Control Z, and that undoes the mistake that you just made. On a video game, you get another life, and you get another life, and you get another life until you get to the next level. In real life, we don't get chance to undo the mistake that we made. And so what really stands out from your story today is the importance of stopping and thinking about the consequences of what we're about to do. So thank you again. Which means we should work together for the well-being of everyone. It's important to me to thank the speaker and to conclude the proceedings today. And I won't stand too long in the way of you and the guy. I know that there have been hands that have been busy all day today with the choice honey, so thank you to all who've done that. I won't speak for very long. But I just want to focus on our focus areas for 2025. Welcome back to work. This is our return to work session. Holidays, unfortunately, are largely over, and it's now time to get our heads back in the game and to complete the tasks ahead of us for 2025 safely, effectively, and efficiently. This year, we want to focus on operational discipline. Channel is working very hard to become world class. And while that means different things to different people, what responsibility falls on each of us is to run a safe site. If we can't run a safe site, then all the other technical gains, all the other operational improvements that we're making will become meaningless if we are hurting people to run our business. Thank you. Following on from what Chad said, this year we need to build on our improvements from last year. It was a great result that we didn't have any notifiable or lost time injuries in 2024. We need to build on that. We need to get better. We need to be more effective at reporting our near misses. We need to improve the way that we keep ourselves and each other safe. One key way that we can collectively keep ourselves and each other safe is through effective toolbox tools. Start of every day, we run through the task of the day, we together have a conversation about the risks and the hazards that work presents to us. We talk about the controls and the mitigations that we will together put in place to make sure that we can complete that work safely. These toolbox talks are essential, and one thing that you'll see slightly differently this year is more of an involvement from people that you normally wouldn't see out on site. So we're going to get, in other industries, they call shiny bums, people who sit on the desks all day and they don't actually come out to site very often. So you're going to see more shiny bums on site. And I want you to welcome us and them, and I want us to together build that culture of talking about the job, asking questions, making sure that we cover the risks and the hazards, and most importantly, we're going to follow the controls and keep ourselves and each other safe. Another point that Jack mentioned was the importance of managing spills. We want to be a world-class site. We've made a bold declaration about how we're going to have zero spills in the environment. We live in a beautiful environment here in Northland, in Port Whangarei and Marsden Point. There's town out there, or treasures out there in our environment that we want to protect and leave in good shape for future generations. So one way that we can manage that effectively at Channel is to make sure we're not polluting, we're not emitting to the environment that will degrade the beautiful environment that we work in and live in and play in here in Whangarei. Another key theme that you will hear about this year is risk awareness and taking personal accountability for my safety and for the safety of those I'm working with. It starts with me. We have health and safety representatives, we have people who can give us good processes and give us good procedures and give us good equipment. And if our head's not in the game, you can have the best process in the world, yeah? You have the best PPE, you can have the best safety equipment, but if my head is somewhere else, if I'm a little bit distracted, if I'm thinking about those 6 gates, and I'll just take this shorty, and I'll get home, I won't have to hop off the bike and open, close the gate 6 times. If we're allowing ourselves to be distracted, if we're allowing ourselves to be seduced into the thought that I'll take a shortcut, I've done it 10 times before, nothing bad has happened, I can do it one more time. You can have the best processes and the best equipment, but if our minds are not working and thinking safely, then bad things will happen, not just to us personally, but to those around us as well. Channel has a number of processes and rules in place. They're designed to keep us safe, much like Lucas is designed to keep his boss safe. But these processes, as I said, will not be effective if you and we and I have our mind in a different space. So we have to think about following our rules and procedures. They're there to keep us safe. They were designed to keep us safe. If you can't do the job safely, stop, take 5, step back from it, think about it, talk about it, have a corridor, make sure that it's safe to proceed. And as Jack also said, if it's still feeling unsafe to proceed, go and ask for help, go and ask for advice, get somebody else involved with the take 5 before you proceed safely. Things to think about during your take 5 are, have I got the critical controls in place? Has my situation changed? Has the environment changed? Have my work team changed? Has another work team arrived? Has something significantly changed? That the controls that we thought about in the morning, and they were fine for the morning, but now in the afternoon it's different. We need to change our controls to make sure that our work and our money in the afternoon is safe. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you very much for attending today. I'll hand back to Corey. Thank you.
Again, I just want to thank Andrew. There's been a conversation with Andrew, and I just felt that, it's a good time for reflect and listen to what choice can tune into if we make the wrong money. I'm just grateful, Andrew, come up. I do also need to Paikmahi Te Tui Taha. They've been here since 4 o'clock this morning. And also to those, our PVC, Jack, and Shelley and others that have turned out early this morning to help also prepare their lovely prize. Just want to mention to those lovely people, I just want to mention to Jack too, for winding up this session, and for Simon, and many of you might not know, Simon is our project manager. So I think I thought it was a good idea to get Simon up here to so that everyone gets to know who he is. So, coming in Simon, I hope you all got value out of Andrew's corridor, Andrew's hanging around. So while you're having quite a hard game, because I know that you all are with that. But anyway, while you're having a fight, I'm sure Andrew love them. One corridor, those that whatever, they back in sort of the corridor. So I think quite really. I don't know how to follow too much, and the family will be running for us. For it, then I can do that, then I can do, then I'll come back up. You're up.